Vikas,
Please.
the voice. Yes, yes. Vikas, sir. Yes, yes, you're audible, sir. Yes, yes.
नमो दीयाद्या
Yes, it is audible.
This one.
Yes, this one also audible. Perfect, sir. Vikas, sir, can you please stop screen sharing? Yes, thank you. Anita Rao, ma'am, please
Yes,
start the
ma'am.
session. Please start the session.
Okay. Audible, ma'am? Should I start
Yeah,
then?
yes, yes, you're audible perfectly.
Namaste and a warm welcome to the Honorable Speaker, Dr. Kuldeep Singh Ji, Honorable Principal, Shri Surendra Herkal Ji, respected teachers, eminent personalities, dear student teachers, and all the wonderful people gathered here. There is a very famous song by the late Michael Jackson. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If we care enough for the living, make it a better place for you and for me. Today, we all have gathered here to discuss a very important topic, that is combating radicalism, which is the most vehement issue with significant implications. Against this backdrop, we have assembled here to know more about the topic and have interacted with many eminent speakers. With this brief background, it gives me immense pleasure in welcoming all of you to the second last day of the national level webinar on behalf of MAEER's Sant Dnyaneshwar B.Ed College. Edward Snowden has very well stated, radicalism and extremism, while they are dangers, they exist in every society, in every level. And Adarsh Sambhya has also rightly said, radicalization in every religion is wrong, whether it is Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism. It divides people and is one of the reasons of instability in the state. We must have belief, but when this belief becomes faith on the basis of irrationality, it becomes radicalism. In other words, we can say the best way to combat radicalism is by having compassion. At this juncture, I would again express my sincere gratitude to our Honorable Principal for taking up this topic for our course 212, a tough, interesting, and also a perfect one for us future teachers. I now request our Professor Pratibha Dabade to please welcome the Honorable Speaker and all other present here. Pratibha ma'am.
Thank you, Anita, ma'am. A very good evening to each one of you present over here on this virtual platform today. I am truly delighted to see number of participants from various sectors present here for this national level lecture series on combating radicalism. On behalf of Savitribai Phule University, Pune, and MICE MIT Sant Gyaneshwar B.Ed College, Alandi, Devachi, Pune, I cordially welcome today's eminent speaker, Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput, Sir, Faculty at Department of Sociology, SPPU, Pune, from the bottom of my heart. It is an honorable moment for our college to have your prestigious presence in today's national level lecture series. I also welcome all the eminent police officers who are joined for this online lecture series. I welcome all the participants, including my dear student teachers, for the lecture series. Today's lecture series is organized under one project, that is Aurora project. It is nothing but the collaboration of 6 countries, and the countries are India, Nepal, Czech Republic, Ireland, Romania, and Spain. MICE MIT is one of the biggest organization in India who is working for world peace and combating radicalism. Once again, I welcome all of you on the 11th day of this online national level lecture series on combating radicalism. Once again, a very warm welcome to the renowned speaker, Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput sir, and all the participants who took out their valuable time and joined us today to be a part of this online national level lecture series on combating radicalism. Thank you. Over to you, Anita ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. A very important need of the time, peace. So I now request Vikas Sundar sir to please play the World Peace Prayer.
प्रतिपाद्या जय जय स्वसंवेद्या आत्मरूपा देवातुति गणेषु सकलार्थमतिप्रकाशो म्हणे निवृत्तिदासु अवधारि बोधि गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We are the proud students of the esteemed educational center, that is, the Savitribai Phule Pune University, a university that caters to the educational needs in each and every area. Now, I would again request Professor Vikas Sundarji to please play the Savitribai Phule Pune University prayer. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. Without further ado, I now again request Professor Pratibha Dabadeji to introduce the esteemed speaker for the day, Professor Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput.
Thank you,
Over
Anita
to you,
Rao,
ma'am.
ma'am. Once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On the 11th day of the national level lecture series on the topic Combating Radicalism. I, Assistant Professor Mrs. Pratibha Dabhade Raisoni. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput sir. Today, he is going to talk with us on the topic Radicalization, the human rights approach. Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput sir is faculty at Department of Sociology, Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune. Sir's educational qualification is MA Sociology, M.Ed, NET and SET in Sociology and Education as well, and PhD. I remember a great thought of Franklin Roosevelt. We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput sir is very passionate for youth development, and he had worked on the same topic for his PhD. Sir associated with different organizations for various activities, intervention programs related to youth and migrant laborers. Sir also associated with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India for various training and orientation programs. Let's move towards his experience as a teaching faculty. As I told you before, currently he is working as a faculty at Department of Sociology, Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune. He is also contributing as a faculty at Tata Institute for Social Sciences. Sir is teaching different subjects for UPSC and MPSC at Chanakya Mandal, Pune as well. This is about his current experience as a teaching faculty. Before this, for 6 years, he has worked at Abhinav College of Education, Teacher Education Institution, Pune. There is a says that academic success depends on research and publications. I must say, today we have academically successful person with us as a guest speaker. Let me talk about his publications, book publications, research paper publications, and publication of articles. Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput sir has published various books, and his broad areas of writing are youth studies, internal migration of labor, human rights, education and inclusive policy. Sir has published various research papers in UGC Care Listed Journal and Peer Reviewed Journal. Sir's articles are also published in various newspapers like Sakar, Maharashtra Times and Deshonnati, etc. In 2010, Sir has awarded with Best Research Paper Award at state level conference organized by Maharashtra SCRT Pune. I must say, today we have an outstanding youth personality with us. I thank Herkar sir for giving me honor to introduce today's eminent speaker, Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput sir. Once again, on behalf of MAEER MRT Sant Dnyaneshwar B.Ed College, Alandi, Devachi, Pune, I heartily welcome you, sir. Now I request Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput, sir, to grace today's session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pratibha Madam, for this wonderful introduction. And hello, everyone. I welcome you all for today's session. Just give me a moment. I'm sharing my PPT.
Yes, sir, sure.
Is it visible, Madam?
Yes, it is visible.
Yes.
Just do the slideshow, sir.
Okay. Fine. Okay.
Yes, sir, it is.
So you must be knowing, as it has been, you must be knowing about radicalization. It has been discussed in previous lectures. So I'm not going to discuss the concept of radicalization and different elements of radicalization. But in short, I would like to discuss few things related to radicalization, because without that I cannot move ahead. So radicalization refers to the process of an individual's transformation from a moderate, law-abiding citizen into an active anti-state violent extremist. So basically, this is the process. Okay, radicalization is a process, and in this process, in this journey, there are many factors. Usually, those are external factors that control human, or you can say individual, and then we can see this type of people in the society. So cases have revealed instances of active radicalization in multiple states. We can see in we are hearing many things related to that in uh, every day in newspaper or say electronic channels. We come across different incidents related to such increasing radicalization in multiple states. So in short, I would like to discuss some forms of radicalization. So politico-religious radicalization, which is very strong in Indian society. What it means, it results from political interpretation of religion. Then right-wing radicalization. What it means, it is characterized by the violent defense of a radical ethnic or pseudo-national identity, and is also associated with radical hostility towards state authorities, minorities, immigrants, or left-wing political people. And another form we have, that is left-wing radicalism. What it means, left-wing extremism, it means that, or it focuses primarily on anti-capitalist demands and calls for the transformation of political system considered responsible for producing social inequalities, and that may ultimately employ violent means to further it causes. There are many examples like Maoist or Marxist Leninist groups are there in the society. So as I said earlier, basically it's a process. Why it's not going ahead? Okay. What are the factors behind radicalization? Individual social psychological factors are there, which include grievances and emotions such as alienation, exclusion, anger, and frustration, and a strong sense of injustice. So when we talk about Indian society radicalization or increasing cases of radicalization in Indian society, this point is extremely important. It seems that it's a very simple and basic point that individuals, individual socio-psychological factors. But see, if you look at these words carefully, like alienation and exclusion, no, or you can say anger and frustration and strong sense of injustice. These words are very important, and this type of feelings could lead towards extremist behavior. And I will discuss few examples also with you. Then socio-economic factors, which include social exclusion, marginalization, and discrimination, real or perceived, limited education and or employment opportunities. As we know that India is highly stratified society. We have diversity, but along with diversity, it is highly stratified society. So in such society, we can see many groups are excluded. Many people are on periphery. They live a life of marginalization, means they live a life at periphery, and they experience marginalization. They experience discrimination in their daily life, and naturally sometimes it can lead to extremist behavior. Means these are the external factors basically. Then what are the political factors? Political factors, which include weak and non-participatory political, lacking good governance and regard for civil society. And of course, social media also play a significant role in creating false reality. And that false reality is considered as the truth, and it is circulated. So these are some basic factors. And I'm from sociology and education background. So I'm going to discuss human rights approach and radicalization from that point of view. At the same time, we need to understand that radicalization by itself is not bad, and gains a positive or negative characteristics based upon its context. So context is very important. Mere deviation, a different, adopting different ways from conventional thinking may not be penalized. So this is a very important thing, that individuals are there, diversities are there if you're talking about Indian society. So deviant behavior should not be always punished. We need to understand the context. Okay, so the contextual understanding of deviant behavior should be explored. But radicalization becomes problematic only where it has the propensity to lead to violence. The challenge lies in preventing such radicalization. And then there is a context of human rights approach. Developing a nuanced understanding of the process of radicalization as well as its characteristic can help and guide the action plan in effectively meeting such challenges. As I said, radicalization is basically a process. So we have to work at different levels. Even we are talking about human rights approach, it's an approach basically, it's a philosophy. And we have to bring that philosophy in our action. And of course, there are different levels of actions. So in this way only we can deal with these issues. So, we have to start from defining radicalization. The process will start from defining it. So one part of that is human rights approach. So basically, while talking about human rights approach, we need to understand violation of human rights. Basic things are there, human rights approach. So I don't think that it is required to discuss what is the human right, what is human right, what is the concept of human right. But I would like to discuss violation of human rights. Yes. Uh, any query or any problem, or shall I continue?
Please continue, sir. Please continue.
A human rights violation is the disallowance of the freedom of thought and movement to which all humans legally have a right. So there are some groups in society, means there are someone or some groups are there in the society who are going to control the entire process, who are going to decide what should be allowed, what is permitted to few people and what is not permitted to these groups. So the process of disallowance is there, right? That is known as human rights violation. The process places vulnerable people in the cycle of poverty and oppression. So, when I'm talking this point, you need to understand that when there are some groups actively working in the society for some vested interest or their own interest, that time they keep some people or some group at periphery, at the cycle of poverty and oppression, and this process is basically beneficial for them. So they perpetuate the cycle of oppression. Keeping some people at periphery, keeping some people at vulnerability is useful for them, is beneficial for them. Getting my point? Uh, and then to maintain their dominance in the society, they use all the available resources which are there for them. So individuals who approach life with the attitude that not all human lives are of equal value, then they perpetuate this cycle. As I said you, there are some specific interest of some groups in society to maintain such stratified society. Some people are there and they control all resources. They have control of all resources. They maintain such discriminatory treatment. And then we can say that there are some, these are the consequences. Radicalization is a consequences according to me. And the consequences is of many factors. So there are some examples of that. For example, forcibly evicting people from their homes, the right to adequate housing in the case of internal migrants. Even in Pune city like Pune, we are saying a city, Pune city is a smart city. But what about migrants' right in Pune city? There is nothing on, there is no mention of rights rights of internal migrants in Pune city. So see how city is also a smart city also can exclude some groups. Then failure to ensure a minimum wage sufficient for a decent living, rights at work. If you take example of Manarega, or if you take example of any example you take, let's say example from informal sector, you will find that there are wage discrimination, and this wage discrimination is based on gender identity. Even in education institutions, I have seen that in many PMC school and private schools, female teacher get less salary compared to male teacher, right? Failure to prevent starvation in all areas and communities in the country. So freedom from hunger, that is a very different problem and very important problem. So these are some example how violation of human rights occur in every day. So if we look at what is happening in Indian society, as I said, I'm going to talk about 2-3 points only because very less time is given to me. So if we look at Indian society, we can see that caste-based discrimination is prevalent. Okay, so according to data of National Dalit Movement for Justice, they have published one report, Quest for Justice. In that report, it has been mentioned that crimes against Dalits increased by 6% from 2009 to 2018, with over 3.91 lakh atrocities being reported. What it indicates? It indicates that uh, caste-based discrimination is deeply rooted in our unconscious, collective unconscious mind. And sometimes, or most of the times, we are not even able to recognize it. In our day-to-day practice, we produce caste. Getting my point? So when we are talking about a society where we have a huge diversity, and at the same time there are cases increasing. There are increasing cases of radicalization or extremism. Extremist groups are coming with different forms and organized forms. So what is the correlation between our day-to-day caste-based discriminatory practices and such cases? On the other hand, such cases are increasing. So there are many statistics actually that will tell you that caste-based discrimination is also increasing. Caste organization, caste institution, as it was supposed that means when we have accepted national LPG policy in 1991, it was assumed that uh, uh, caste will disappear one day. So eradication of caste is possible along with economic growth. But unfortunately, today we are experiencing that caste is not disappearing. Unfortunately, caste is coming with more and more organized form. So there are many statistics. Second example I would like to give of ethnic identities and lack of protection. Ethnic groups like migrant groups or any tribal community. So I did one case study in 2016 in Buldhana district. So a case study of Paura tribes. I have conducted one small scale study. So I found many dimensions and levels of exclusion experienced by Paura tribes. Now, Paura tribe is basically migrant community. They have migrated from Rajasthan, then Madhya Pradesh, and then they can be seen in Buldhana or Dhule or Nandurbar belt of Maharashtra. So I conducted one qualitative study. So I found 2-3 major important things that I would like to share here. First of all, see, I would just like to tell you how radicalization is a process and how groups are excluded in the development process also. So these students are now going into ZP schools. In Jilla Parishad schools in Buldhana district, they teach in Marathi medium, right? These are the migrant groups from Madhya Pradesh, Khargone district, right? And they don't understand Marathi. Teacher teaches in Marathi, students don't understand Marathi. Student speak Pauri language, their own language. Teacher is not aware about their language. But teaching learning is going on. Getting my point? They are promoted to next grades. They are getting certificates from schools, right? But what about learning process? That is the main, I think, a point that should be discussed. So mere going to school is not enough. I just want to highlight that how these students, innocent students that are not much aware about learning process, cognitive development, how learning and education will bring better things to them, but they are just they are just coming to school for betterment of their lives, for their betterment. They're coming to school in the hope of better quality life. But unfortunately, on the name of learning process, or you can say schooling process, they are silently excluded from learning process. Because some teachers are definitely, I'm not saying that this is the, I cannot generalize this picture, but this small incident could lead to deviant behavior. Another very important point I would like to tell you about these tribes, that I have seen that many youngsters, youth, Paura youth, they are basically tribes, but many of them don't have caste certificate, no ST caste certificate. And some of them have caste certificate, but they are not getting validity of that. And now you can imagine a youth from this deprived section like Buldhana, deprived region like Buldhana. They are basically migrants. They are not having good education. They are not having good educational background. They are not economically sound. They don't have caste certificate with them. Some of them have caste certificate, but without validity, that caste certificate is of no use. How they will compete with the world? How they will compete with the global competition? How they will compete with youth from Pune, Bangalore, Delhi, Chennai, isn't it? So a kind of alienation can, it is very easy for some extremist group to develop a feeling of alienation among these youth. And I have seen that, means when they were telling, when I was discussing with them, so they told me that the entire system is not for us. The system is not working for the betterment of us. And I thought that this is the beginning of radicalization. Means maybe out of 10, or out of let's say 15 youths, only 4 or 5 students youth were saying that they are not happy with the existing educational system. They are not getting caste certificate, what collectors are doing, to whom we should approach, many things are there, but they are not getting caste certificate. And somewhere a feeling of separation has been inculcated. I don't know which groups are, promoting them and, bringing them, pushing them from the mainstream. But this example can tell, this is a very important example to understand how people are excluded from the mainstream development programs. Okay, there are many examples. So what can be done? I think 10-15 minutes I have. What can be done? Now, human rights approach in development policies and inclusiveness. As I said you, basically human rights approach should be there in development policies. So basically it is always there. If you look at any development policy, you will find that usually all policies have inclusiveness. Inclusiveness means that dimension of inclusiveness is there in every development policy. You take any rural development, urban development, or educational policy, you will find that. But what happens in practice? Who actually get the benefit of such development policies? So if you take example of rural development policies, many policies are unfortunately not doing good thing. Let's say Rurban Abhiyan. What happened to that Rurban Abhiyan? Okay, today also we can see huge rural urban migration. Let's say right to education. What is happening with right to education? Do you think that right to education means you are teacher educator, some people teacher are there, some teachers are also there. Do think about it. Right to education was very important on turning, you can say, it's a milestone basically in educational achievement of Indian society. But right to education is not able to give justice. And I will talk about that point also next slide. I have mentioned that point. But right to, policies like right to education should be implemented with a some kind of broader approach, and some kind of supervision should be there. Unfortunately, lack of supervision and lack of interest of bureaucratic organization, right to education is in my opinion, is not working as it was supposed to be. So what should be done? We need inclusive growth. Okay, now inclusive growth, economic growth. In economy, everyone should get opportunity. We speak about this point, these things. So today, half of world's poor live in just 5 countries, and India is one of them. See how many poor people are there in Indian society, in India means. And poverty and exclusion are closely related to each other. How we are going to deal with these issues? When people are not getting their rights, when people are not getting opportunity to practice their rights, naturally, automatically, a feeling of deviation will be there in their minds. That's why I said in previous slide only, we need to understand the process of radicalization instead of only looking at consequences. Then we need to understand the role of education. I think this is very important point to bring human rights approach in development policies. What education can do, and I feel that education is the only, I would say, social institution which can bring many changes. At the same time, we have to understand another dimension of education, that education is the institution which perpetuate inequalities in the society. So it's very important thing that what we are doing as a teacher, what we are doing as a supervisor or principal, or as a any part of this hierarchy, what we are doing. So if we look at Indian education system, the picture is good at one side, from one side. If you look at access point of view, so you can see here on the screen from what is the status of 2005 and what is the status in 2009. So you can see that there is a growth in enrollment ratio of students, right? And at the same time, the number of out of school children was also reduced. So it seems that it's a good thing. So what we did after independence, we have started many schools, and today also a lot of schools has been started. They get permission and we have a number of schools. But the main question, if we really want to understand human rights approach, and if we really want to address the issue of radicalization, we have to ask the question to ourselves as a teacher and various different educational institutions also, that what type of education they are offering. So unfortunately, from many studies, it has been seen that it has been observed that students are, teacher assume that all students are at equal level. And this assumption is very faulty, basically, because when teacher assumes that all students are at equal level, they are learning with the same speed or no level, then there is a huge possibility that many students will be drop out or pushed off from the learning process. And it is happening. Unfortunately, learning process is a cognitive process, and your socio-economical socio-economic status, or say factors, influence that cognitive process. So there is a huge probability that a child whose parents are migrant laborers, that child may not be able to learn uh, uh, effectively as compared to other students from middle class families. There are many theories are also in educational studies and even sociology of education. That's why I'm asking, I'm putting this point that what type of education we are offering, that should be questioned. Another thing is that mere access is not enough. Access should be meaningful. If we want to really explore the role of education and how human rights approach could be inculcated, we need to ask the question that is the access is meaningful. So access should be meaningful. What is meaningful access? It involves more than ensuring children appear on school or college enrollment list. It includes consideration of quality and levels of achievement also. Too many students are enrolled, but silently they are excluded from learning process. So enrollment should not be the criteria of judging education. It could be one part that see we have good enrollment, okay, but we need to go beyond that, because it has been seen in Indian society that in many extremist group or in many uh, uh, among many youth who are many extremist group where youth are engaged, these those youth are highly educated. So somewhere we are not able to convert uh, uh, or we can say that somewhere we have failed to give the message to our students that how they should be, how they are useful for the society, and the society is for them. That message has not been given, and because of that, and because of many dimensions of faulty education, this kind of separationism or kind of radicalization has been inculcated. The Indian Institute of Dalit Studies have conducted n number of studies. So some, two, three findings I'm discussing here with you. So according to that institution, the majority of SC, ST and Muslim minority or other disadvantaged youth are enrolled in BA programs. They do not have guidance or support system from their families or communities or the schools and colleges on how they can access other courses that are in keeping with their interest and also with emerging opportunities. So again, I just want to highlight my previous point only. Access is not enough. Sorry, enrollment access is not enough. Enrollment is not enough. We need to understand how we are going to bring equitable education, right? So the same institution from various studies and reports is saying that there one report is saying that how candidates from scheduled caste, uh, Muslim minority communities were discriminated at all levels of recruitment, from interview calls to interviews and recruitment process. So this study was conducted by Professor Sukhdev Thorat, very eminent personality. So in his study, he found that at the time of interview calls also, at the time of interview also, and at the time of recruitment process also, SC youth and Muslim minority youth experience discriminatory treatment. So getting my point. So how we are going to deal with such issues? That is the main problem. Punishing youth or punishing those people is, could be a very formal mechanism. But talking about root causes, addressing caste discrimination in Indian society, and not only addressing, coming with some better solution could, bring some better picture for the Indian society. So according to their studies and report, they found that dominant community managers, IID studies also report dominant community managers and executives prejudices and stereotypes about youth from excluded community. So as I said you, it's a huge process. It's a long process. We have to work at various level. So at the time of interview also, if youth are experiencing discrimination because of their social identity, it's very difficult. That's why the role of education is very important. The role of teacher in the entire process is very important. But unfortunately, this also has been experienced that teachers strongly believe in caste identities. That has been also seen. So these perceptions negatively impact the participation and opportunities of these youth and limit their development. So don't you think that when these youth experience this type of discrimination, when they are denied employment opportunity, when they are not getting caste certificate, they are migrants, they are tribes, they are the true beneficiaries, but they are not getting the benefits. Uh, so what they should do, where they should go, isn't it? That's why government and government organization also need to tackle these issues with some sensitivity. They do, in fact, but no. the efficiency should be increased. Efficiency should be increased. Otherwise, it is very difficult to deal with radicalization, increasing radicalization, because hunger is a thing that promotes such factors. When they experience that their family members are dying due to hunger, what they will do? So we have created a situation, we have created extreme polarization in Indian society on caste identities, on social identities, on religious identities, on regional identities also. I did my studies PhD. My doctoral that topic was about migrant youth. So many migrant youth in Pune are saying that we experience region-based discrimination in our daily life. That we are from Bihar, we are from UP. So in Maharashtra, in Pune, many people, keep on stigmatizing us that he's Bihari, he's UP wale, and these people are like these. They are, creating some problem for us, like this type of things. So discrimination based on regional identities should be, discussed, and they should get enough opportunity in the development process. UNICEF is saying that school dropout scenario in India is extremely high, as over 80 million children are not completing the full cycle of elementary education, while 8 million are out of school over number of years. So this extremely high level is very alarming and shocking. Getting a point. First of all, we have a huge ratio of school dropout. Then we have some students, we are bringing them into the mainstream of education. They are coming to school, right? But again, they are getting certificates, they are promoting to next grades, but they are not learning, isn't it? Because our teachers, Indian teachers, or let's say school teachers, they are not actually aware about equitable education. They don't have sufficient time, they have to complete their syllabus, right? And many things are there. But the final result, what is the result? What we are producing? We are producing exclusionary mechanism of school or in educational institution. So they are not getting education, they are not getting employment, we are not accepting them. If they go to some, if they try to get some employment opportunities in cities also, they are discriminated. So what should be done? What they will do? No. So from a very broader point of view, we should have inclusive policies. And inclusive policy should be implemented with some sensitivity. That is what I am saying. So bringing human rights approach into practice. Yes. Accepting and respecting differences. That is one thing. Very important point. Accepting and respecting differences. So in Indian society, there is a existence of diversity. Unity in diversity is very popular that we are hearing from our childhood. But what it actually means, diversity emphasizes differences rather than inequalities, that we are different. But there is a way feeling, that way feeling should be inculcated through family institution, through school institution, but school institution will play a significant role in the entire process. Unity in diversity essentially means unity without uniformity. It is not necessary to be similar. We should not make any practice to make people similar. Few days ago in Buldhana district only, a few teachers and unfortunately some government officers also, one news I saw. In that news, the news was about tribal community. I think it was about Bhilala or Paura tribes. So what they did, they were convincing tribal communities, means they were trying to control the alcoholism practices among tribal communities at the time of marriages. So in tribal communities, when they have marriages, they have their own cultural practices. But these teachers, 2-3 teachers and some government officers, what they did, they in that news it was written that uh, they were convincing those people not to have alcoholism or such practices at the time of marriages. So when we see that news, it seems that it is good thing, isn't it? So you are saying that you are convincing them not to, drop some such practices. But at the same time, we also need to understand that maybe consuming alcoholism is their cultural practice, right? I'm not promoting or I'm not saying anything in favor of alcoholism, but try to understand that it's a part of their culture, and it's a encroachment over their culture, isn't it? Such incidences, that is what I'm saying. We are, some particularly with tribal communities, it's I'm worried about that situation, that after some time uh, we are creating a society where we are trying to make all people similar. So uniformity, unity without uniformity, and diversity without fragmentation, that sense should be understood with sensitivity, that we should respect and accept diversities. Let's take example of food culture, or many things are there, so these differences should be there, and this is a very good sign of a healthy society. Diversity enriches human interaction, and we need to teach this our students. Yes, uh, that's all, madam. Shall I
Yes, sir.
stop
Yes,
here,
sir. Yes.
as I think
Yes.
it's 4:50? Yes,
Yes, yes, sir.
yes, just a bit, madam. As we come to the end of today's session, I express my gratitude to the organizers, Professor Vijay Khare sir, Principal Dr. Surendra Helkar sir, Professor uh, Pratibha Dabhade Raisoni madam, Professor Sanjay Shinde sir, and the entire organizing team. Last but not the least, I thank all our valuable audience for a patient listening. Yes, thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I'm sure that everybody will agree with me that this was a very enriching session. Radicalization and human rights approach. Wow, that really is one of a kind. Your case study of the Paura tribes shows that um, education, if properly given to children, it can, I mean, if it is not properly given, it can lead to radicalization. And good education will, what you can say, it is a medium for eradicating radicalization. So once again, thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. The forum is now open for question answers. I request you all to raise your hands so that I can call your name and there will not be any hassles. Yes, please. Any questions? Any questions from anybody? I think it was so enriching that nobody has got any doubts and questions.
Very, very true. Very true.
Very true. Yes. I mean, short and sweet and crisp,
Yes.
details minuted very explicitly.
There is one
Yes,
question.
I think there is a hand
Yes,
raised.
Rajkumar.
Rajkumari?
Ma'am, actually, it was self-explanatory. The way sir explained things were very much
True,
clear to us. So
true,
there is no need to ask any kind of doubts. It was quite
very true.
enriching.
Yes. Yes, Gayatri, you raised your hand.
Yes, Gayatri.
Yeah, I raised my hands. Actually, sir, it was a very wonderful session. Actually, I have taken many screenshots because your session was uh, very knowledgeable, and you yourself has have done the case study. I cannot put my question into the proper words. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Regarding this radicalization, uh, there is a community in Pakistan which is now going to extremism. I heard it in a few days back. when this particular community is not even going according to what Imran Khan is, working for. So they are against his ideology. So I am not sure how to put it, but this is some extremist step which they are taking. So when you said a human approach, uh, uh, I was reading this that one what you can say a mentally unstable person was burnt. First he was publicly abused, and then he was lashed, and then he was killed in public. So is this again something related to like non-human this thing for radicalization, like they are totally for Quran and all? So is my question apt for this? I'm not able to ask.
Sir, you're on
Sir,
mute.
yes, please unmute.
Yes. In my opinion, it's a very complicated process basically, and we may experience ethical dilemmas also at different levels, and that is going to happen. Okay, because as you have given example about the community in Pakistan and their ideologies, and there are many extremist groups existing. How to deal with them, or any so as I said, it's ethical dilemma. It's very difficult. It's very critical process basically. And what you were asking, I just lost your question. Will you please repeat what was the second part of your question? Uh,
Sir, my second part of question was again that I mean this is not a radicalism, right? Because they are totally into that Quran and every their holy books should be.
yeah.
So this group is not in accordance with Imran Khan, like because he's wanting to somehow go with the change, not exactly, but they are against it. I think Tariq-e-Pakistan or something. I am not
Yes.
very
Yes.
sure about the name.
So in short, I can say that it's a wrong. It's not actually wrong or right, but it's a political interpretation of religion. Okay, it's all about dominance and controlling limited resources. And now there is a tendency with the help of religious interpretation or say misinterpretation, you can control many things. And that is how people are not now doing in Pakistan and many different parts of other countries also. It's a radicalism only. It's extremism only. That could be violence is a part. Violence is something associated with radicalism. When you are not ready to listen anything, and when you want to uh, uh, impose your thoughts and ideology on other people, so it's nothing but a radicalism, or you can say extremism. Radicalism is little broader concept, but these are the things. And while dealing with such cases, ethical dilemmas could be there. And I think uh, again, when I hear examples from Pakistan or different countries, I strongly believe that that is the failure of educational institutions.
Right, sir.
Every time we have to
Definitely.
understand that what we are teaching to our students, because those are the future citizens. And if you are telling them this is the truth and this is the ultimate truth, that they will, this is how you are inculcate the value of integration you are inculcating among them, and they will, perceive only one dimension of truth there. They will not be able to accept different dimensions, and that is what happened in Pakistan. So political organizations are controlling educational institutions, and now they are experiencing extremism, and that extremism itself killing Pakistan now. They don't need
Right.
any other enemies.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. I understand.
I had a question out here, sir. In many of the Middle East countries, if a woman is maltreated, uh, cases of rape or anything comes up, they are battered in public square, and then they are hung in public. So would this kind of a situation be positive radicalization? I mean, can it be termed as positive radicalization? Because yes, it is radicalization to the extreme level of killing a person. It is violating human rights, yes. But isn't this punishment uh, appropriate for such people?
According to me, it's a popular radicalization. Instead of positive and negative, it's a very popular that people like that someone is punished. Okay, and now we are, people feel that we are in the process, we have the right to punish, right? And that is unfortunately it's extremely wrong thing. We should have a mechanism where, Indian constitution is, that's why a beautiful document where we have given a mechanism where everyone have equal opportunity to prove his thoughts and his, things and many other things. That is not in, that cannot be seen in other countries. Middle East is, what is happening in Middle East. Let's say, let's take example of US also. What US is experiencing racial discrimination
Yes.
is, no, we are much more ahead. We are in a really development process. In a development process, we are much more ahead than US. Today, US also experiencing a number of human rights issues, and because it's US, many things don't come to us or to the mainstream media. But it should not be done according to me. But as I said, it's about ethics, ethical dilemma. Okay, someone is killing my family member, and I should wait for the external mechanism. That
To
mechanism
come
or the
and
people will
help me
come and
out
they will
in
give
getting
some
justice.
punishment to that person. So it's a very contextual thing, in fact.
No, like it also instigates fear in other people's mind that I should not rape.
But that is
I
not the way to inculcate the value. If you want to reduce rape cases, gender, social construction of gender should be prioritized, and boys
true.
should be taught about it.
About how to respect women. Absolutely
Yes.
correct. Any more questions? Anybody? I don't think there are any more questions. Yes, I now request Pratibha Dawade ji to please propose the vote of
There is
thanks.
one question from Rupali.
Yes, Rupali, please. I'm sorry. Miss Rupali?
Sorry, actually, I don't have any question. I have to just share vote of thanks, I can say.
Okay.
Sir, sir, you explained very well and मतलब मला खूप आवडलं lecture. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Pratibha, ma'am.
Yes, thank
No
you,
more
Anita.
questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, and the most valued invited guest, Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput, sir. Good evening, everyone over here. Yes, gratitude is the memory of the heart, and now it is time to extend our gratitude. Myself, Assistant Professor Pratibha Dabhade Raisoni, present here to propose vote of thanks. I, on behalf of MIT Sant Dnyaneshwar B.Ed College, Alandi, Devachi, Pune, and the entire fraternity present over here, and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to today's speaker, Dr. Kuldeepsingh Rajput, sir, for enlightening us with his knowledge. Today's lecture was full of knowledge and interesting as well. It gave deep insight into the topic radicalization, the human rights approach, and also revealed some interesting facts about it. Sir has started his session with the basic concept of radicalization and factors behind radicalization, and then he switched on the main topic, that is radicalization and human rights approach. Sir has given a brief on the current scenario in India related to radicalization with different examples like caste discrimination, case study of Paurat tribes at Buldana. Then he switched on human rights approach in development policies and inclusiveness. In that, focus was given on inclusive growth, role of the education and of the teacher, how socio-economic status shows influence on cognitive process of a child, so enrollment is not the criteria for judging education. Sir also shared findings of some research studies on SC and Muslim minority community related to discrimination and how such students they are promoted in the next class without learning. Means learning, there is no learning at all. Then sir share with us how human rights approach we can bring in practice. Sir, your session was really informative. I'm pretty sure that whatever precious knowledge we got today will definitely help us today and even in future. Once again, I would like to thank Sir for taking out time from his busy schedule and enlightening us with his knowledge. Thank you so much, Sir. I also extend my gratitude to the additional DIGs and police officers for showing their enthusiasm in attending this national level lecture series. I'm very grateful to our principal and convener of this national level lecture series, Dr. Surendra Herpar sir, for the continuous encouragement and for taking initiative in conducting lecture series on one of the most important topics, that is combating radicalism. I also wish to express my gratitude to the coordinator of this national level lecture series, Assistant Professor Sanjay Shinde sir, for his efforts and ever support in the organization of this great event. Yes, effective organization of any event is only because of the great teamwork. So, here I would like to thank all my dear colleagues and non-teaching staff members for their constant support and cooperation. Dear participants, the success of the program is not possible without you. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants of the Department of Defense and Strategic Studies from Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune, the Department of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Studies, Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune, teacher educators from different colleges, and my dear student teachers from MIT Sant Dnyaneshwar B.Ed College, Alandi, Devachi, Pune. Once again, I thank one and all. Now I hand over the session to Anita ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. I now request you all to turn on your camera so that we can have a group photo, please. Yes, please. Okay. Thank you. Thank you once again, everybody. With the permission of our honorable principal and the coordinator of this event, I would now like to end the event, please. Thank you, everybody. Thank you once again for your precious presence for this event and making it a wonderful interactive one. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.